And I have a right to know. I deserve answers. Mic check 2 1 2, bitch.
What is up, guys? This is DDP back for a Monday edition of Mavs Fastbreak. I know it's a little bit of a random start time. It's probably throwing a few people off, but with my 7.5 hour stream yesterday with the Sports Fury, my schedule got a little thrown off, and then the internet just didn't want to comply with me for the rest of it. So it led to some improvisation, and now here we are for a Monday edition of Mavs Fast Break. Before I get into all of the Mavericks talk and everything, I want to give, again, a quick shout out to the Sports Fury. Great YouTube channel there if you guys want to check that out. Great in-game commentary and game companion stuff that they do. Cover everything from not just Dallas sports like I am, but they'll cover the best NFL games of the week, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, MLB, WWE, as was the case last night with WrestleMania. Just awesome. Sean and Josh, awesome dudes. And their sub base and everything could not have been kinder to me and everything last night when I was a guest on that show. So salute to all of you. For those who might have subbed me from watching the stream last night, I will have a WrestleMania review video coming up later probably in the next couple days. My next edition of Feeling Dangerous will probably be filmed and start to release tomorrow. In all of that, I'll go through other topics as well. It's going to be the first Feeling Dangerous in which I talk several different conversations or topics related to sports and all of that. So something there to look forward to. But let's dig into the Mavericks here. This is the Mavs Fast Break. I want to give you guys the Sunday show that's a little late. So first of all, for the first of these two aforementioned Grizzly games, I was actually at the AAC Friday night. And actually had the cool experience of meeting, I don't know if he's a subscriber of the channel or if he just recognized me from the channel, but basically someone who's seen the channel came up to me, was actually sitting in the row right behind me, and kind of tapped me on the shoulder and was like, "Hey, are you the Dallas prospect?" Now, I'm an awkward human being in general. I'm pretty introverted, and I forget how to act like a normal person when meeting new people. So in the initial exchange, I was kind of, I think about it now, and I'm like, I might have come across seeming like I wasn't that interested, when really I thought it was so cool I didn't know how to respond, because that's the first time I've had, outside of a major event that was like partly hosted by the prospect, someone come up to me. So I don't believe I got the kid's name. I think he was like a high school kid, but said he was a fan of the channel and everything, and I talked a little bit with him a couple different times throughout the night. So that was cool. Very cool. Shout out to you. You know who you are if you're watching by chance. But in that game, we come out knowing that we're not going to have Dirk, or excuse me, we're not going to have Luka, we're not going to have Jalen Brunson, we're not going to have Dwight Powell. We do have Dirk. We get a nice, healthy dose of Dirk in that game, and that is probably the last home game I'll get to see for Dirk. I don't have any current plans or anything like that as far as being able to attend his home finale, his final home game in all likelihood. I believe that's Tuesday night against the Phoenix Suns, and then the next night they go to San Antonio to finish the season. So in that game, Dallas pretty much got their teeth kicked in. They cut it to 10 a couple times in the fourth quarter, but never could get over the hump. And you know what? That's fine, because the idea was tanking. We wanted to be able to improve our odds. I actually think that's why they were resting Luka. They said, oh, he's not 100%. He's probably like 95% in terms of his right thigh contusion. I think they just took a pause and pretty much said, hey, let's preserve the kid and try and improve our tanking odds. And we saw how it worked out. Unfortunately, the formula would not work again when we went to Memphis. Apparently would not repeat itself, because in that next rematch with Memphis, Dallas goes to overtime and beats the Grizzlies on their court now. This is without Dirk having a great game. This is without, it really wasn't, it wasn't any standout game for any one player that comes to mind. It just felt like, I think the team now, the closer we get to the end of Dirk's line, most likely, I think they're all playing up to a new level. And I think that just kind of radiated throughout the rest of the roster, where now it's kind of working against our tanking efforts. So before I dive further into this, first in the house as always, Gleh, what's up? Can't catch him, what's good? Let's pay our debt first. Nothing. So he's talking about losing the first round pick in all likelihood. Even if we keep the pick, but we don't have a top 2, you're saying to trade the pick in whatever form, whether it's back to Atlanta just to close our bargain with them for Luka or whatever. I mean, we'll see what happens with that. I might be a little deeper than 2 or 3 guys, but I definitely think it's not as strong of an overall class as it was last year. Rangers King in the house, what's up? Connor Burke, what's up? First name, last name. Who cares if we get our pick anyway? We're getting Porzingis $30 million in cap space. The pick can matter for sure. You don't ever want to poo-poo a pick, because if you got a top 5 pick, you have a chance at getting a special player potentially, and it's a special player who's dirt cheap. So if we lose the top 5 pick, okay, not the end of the, or sorry, we wouldn't lose the top 5. If we lost our first round pick, it might not be the end of the world, but if it ends up being a significant pick, like number 6 or 7 or something like that, then it could ultimately come back to bite us a little bit. But it is what it is, man. You got Luka, and that's your franchise centerpiece right there. You made the trade for Porzingis, so now you've got your 1-2 punch. If you can find one more really good player to go with that, you've got a damn good contender moving forward, especially with KP being 23 and Luka being 20. So there's something there. And even if we end up with the 9th best odds, I know after the win the other night, we're now the 7th best odds for the number 1 pick. Even if we slipped to 9th, we would still have a, I think, 20% chance at landing the top pick. So the way the rules shifted up this year for the lottery actually are keeping us much more in the thick of things than prior. This is how they're trying to avoid everyone just going into tank fest like the last couple years, where it just got really, really bad. Still there, but maybe not quite as bad this year as last. Let's see here. Karam, what's up? Am I saying your name right? Let me know. I always want to give a proper shout out on that. Let's see, talking about the draft pick and everything. Yep. Can't lose heart. I agree. Stephen A. Smith would say, good luck. Yeah. Yep. Not to cry at Tuesday's game for Dirk's last run, most likely. Yeah, that's going to be really tough to get through. Even going Friday, knowing it was going to be the last time I probably saw him play live, like the whole day, it was just kind of surreal. Like I was excited and a little bit somber the whole day because I wasn't ready, man. As I wrote in my article Thursday that I put out right before it, I kind of came to a realization. Now I'm 29 years old. I really got into the NBA in the 02-03 season. That's when I started watching every game and all of that. And it was at that point, that was year 4 of Dirk. And that was the year the Mavericks made a run to the West Finals against the Spurs. And if not for a Dirk MCL sprain in the Western Conference Finals, they probably beat the Spurs and win the title that year with Dirk, Nash, and Finley, which is my low-key favorite big three of all time. So it's a very partial one, not really backed up by analytics, but let me have this. But I realized I've never really known the NBA without Dirk, and that was kind of it made the feelings of Dirk's likely impending retirement that much more surreal for me. So that's what I wrote about in the article, and that actually did get picked up by Bleacher Report. So that was really cool. That's my first Mavs article that got picked up in a little bit. So that was really kind of humbling because it wasn't my usual style. Usually I'm much more of a stats and facts kind of guy. I lay out these trends and everything like that. This time I took a more personal approach, and it was fairly well received. So cool. So yeah. If the Measury wins us a game by hitting 9 straight points, then there's nothing you can do. Tell the Grizz we're trying to lose on purpose, but we got like 5 offensive rebounds in a row. Yeah, Measury decided to have one of those games for himself there late. So he's been shooting a lot lately. I looked at his minutes the Friday night game. It felt like he took half our shots at one point. I was like, good God, it's like every time he's touching the ball, he's shooting. And then I looked at the box score after the game, and I was like, okay, he took like 9 shots. Like it felt like 24 shots. It was just, he has the ball, shot. He has the ball, shot. He has the ball, shot. I think he took 3 shots on 1 possession in the first half at one point Friday night. So, yeah, it works for you and against you. In this case, he was hitting shots, and so it worked against you. But you got to work with what you got to work with, man. They still have decent odds. They just got to see what they can come out with. TSSCG, you're the GOAT. I appreciate it. That's the first time being called the GOAT. Low-key, I'm really salty about yesterday. Yeah, yesterday in the capacity of just how the game turned out, I presume. Yeah, it was... At the time the game was happening yesterday, I was live streaming with the Sports Fury. I was DVRing it, and I did go through a lot of it this morning and, kind of followed up through the whole recap and everything. So I get it. It's a frustrating one to win in that case, but at least it doesn't completely mess up our odds like we feared. How can I become a moderator? Asks first name, last name. That's something that I think I have to approve on it, but if you want to be a mod, yeah, it's pretty basic. Just if someone starts spewing a lot of hateful, really inappropriate shit in the chat, block the comment. It'll give you the option. Beyond that, pretty much just hang out. We got a bunch of mods already, and for the most part, our chat's pretty cool. We haven't needed a whole lot of maintaining or managing, but if you want that, I can take care of that. There you go. You're officially a mod. Welcome. Could be better. You can't teach those men to lose. Stop being pissed about it. I'm assuming that's part of someone else's crosstalk and not something I said, because I did not say I was pissed. Yes, the Pelicans, they did us a favor for sure. Jeremy Price, Mavericks better without Luka. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. I know people are like, oh, hey, they've won like 3 out of 4 games or something like that without him. First of all, we're not trying to win games. Second of all, the Thunder had lost at the time. It's changed now. I think now it's like 15. They've lost like 14 out of 23 games post All-Star break. They went from the 3 seed to the 8 seed. Complete free fall. So I don't even really count them losing to us in that case. In fact, I think the fact that Luka didn't play in that game made them even more emboldened to play like down to our level. And then Devin Harris was basically having a career game as if it was 2009 and he was an all-star again, and so on and so forth. So that worked out that way. And then when they played Philly didn't play Joel Embiid or Jimmy Butler. Like it wasn't full strength Philly. And this game with Memphis, yeah, Memphis is trying to tank too, and because they had just beaten us, they kind of weren't playing up to it, and some of our guys played a little above their heads, and it just worked out that way. But Mavericks are not better without Luka. If you think they're better without Luka, you should really revisit the last couple seasons of Maverick basketball. Yeah, hell yeah, thanks DDP. No problem, first name, last name. If we get the 8th pick, Atlanta, good luck. Yeah. Half of the team won't be there next year, and the 4 guys on this team at most 4 guys on this team are long-term pieces. I agree with Max there, with Rangers King. Did you hear about that rumor that supposedly Dragic texted Vucevic and the Mavs after the Mavs versus Heat game? Can I believe that would have happened? I think that's not crazy to think of. I really do think Dragic would probably like playing with Luka. We know they have a history there. We know there's a friendship and a respect there. So yeah, I could totally believe that. It would be a little bit of an unconventional thing because at that point you're bringing in 2 more international players, and we basically are Team World against the rest of the world. The Team World versus the U.S., because we've already currently tied the record for most foreign players on a single NBA roster. And then you'd be adding 2 more. Now, obviously, as Max said, there's going to be heavy turnover where you have some new guys coming in, some current faces that are here now will be gone, and we'll just see how it shakes out. But my gut tells me it's probably going to be 1 maybe international player that gets added, not 2 though. I know, not sweating it. It's a process. Indeed. The process of doing your damnedest to get Zion. Team World minus Africa. Oh. Yeah, kind of. So let's see here. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about here, I wanted to get into the whole conversation about Dwayne Wade. Max sent this to me originally, Dwayne Wade's comments. And I'm only chiming in on this now, even though it's been a couple days, because it feels like it hasn't completely gone away because now Wade's jumped kind of back into the fray with this. Max, if you're in here, send me, if you have it or know how to find it quickly, that tweet that was comparing Dwayne Wade at age 37, his current age, to Dirk Nowitzki, age 37. I'd be curious to see that. I want to read off the specifics of that stat as I'm getting into it. But basically, in an interview with Sports Illustrated, Dwayne Wade came out and he basically threw shade at Dirk. Like, there's no masking what it is. We've known all year this is Dirk's last, or we haven't known it's Dirk's last year. We've assumed it's Dirk's last year. We have known it's Wade's last year because Wade is a very self-important player. He likes to market himself in this way where he has this whole vibe of that, right? Like, Dwayne Wade will, without any self-humbling at all, tell you how great he is. And that's kind of been the way it's always gone for him. He's always been heavily, heavily marketed. He, LeBron, and previously before that, Bosch were all with CAA and agency in the NBA. They all basically, we know this, how they kind of worked their contracts to all expire at the same time so that they could all join on one team. The only question is what team. Miami is who ended up making the cap space for it to happen. So they all went to Miami and formed that super team and pretty much ruined NBA in terms of super team building for God knows how long. It might be forever at this rate. But with all of that, Wade has always been marketed heavily and pushed everywhere on all kinds of magazines and all that. And, you know, it's just a difference in how out there you want to be. Dirk's the kind of guy who goes about his business quietly. And Dirk is so humble, he doesn't even want to call himself the greatest Euro of all time. Like, he doesn't even want to acknowledge that. And that's pretty crazy, I think, in that case, because you would assume, at the very least, he could grant himself that, and he would just hesitate at saying, you know, in the NBA. But no. And, you know what? I respect that for Dirk. But Wade did an interview with Sports Illustrated through shade at Dirk, directly saying that he doesn't want to be the old guy on the bench who has no impact on the game and plays about 15 minutes, and the crowd, whether it's the home team or the crowd on the road, is cheering, "We want Wade, we want Wade." He is so salty, is Dwayne Wade. So salty. He's so jealous of all the attention that Dirk has garnered over his career and everything like that. Because Wade is one of those guys who is saying, "Look at me, aren't I great?" Wade's upset because he's trying to make a spectacle after every game of him trading jerseys. He's trying to do this long, drawn-out moment where the last time he's ever going to play LeBron, he's got to stand there dramatically, and they're just going to stare at each other for a minute. And he just has to compose himself, because this is history, man. This is like the league right here. Like, all the importance of the league, everything, the last 13 plus years, it's all right here with LeBron and Wade. And he's just so flashy and look at me about it. And, you know, irony there, his nickname being Flash, but it's kind of over the top and excessive. And he doesn't have the league-wide respect that Dirk has, even though I don't doubt his ability. He is a fantastic player. He is. You know, we can say everything we want about the 06 finals, and rightfully so. He balled out in that game, or in that series. He did. Now, he got a lot of help, but, you know, he did his thing. And he was great in the 2011 finals, too. If the Heat had won that series, he was going to be MVP. He was putting up fantastic numbers again. So I'm not trying to say, hey, he's a bad player. I'm trying to say he's very self-important, and he's very much about himself and his own image and everything like that. And so he's upset. He doesn't want all of this to happen where Dirk's getting the attention, right? Dirk goes to the Garden, Madison Square Garden. He goes to Boston. He goes to, I mean, in those cases, he's got the crowd chanting for him, even in the final minute of a game that's decided, just wanting to see him make one more shot. It's Doc Rivers in L.A. stopping the game with under a minute left so he can lead the crowd in a standing ovation for Dirk that lasts several minutes. That's what Wade sees. And Wade had just gone through there like a week or so earlier, and they didn't do that shit for him. And he is ate up about it. He's salty about it. And that's why he's throwing this shade, because Dwayne Wade can't help himself. There is a rivalry there. I know things between Dirk and Wade were very tense through 2011, really, especially in those first couple years. So Rangers King sent me the link here. Let me hit these numbers real quick, and then I'll continue with this rant. So Dirk, age 37 versus Wade, age 37. Games, 75 for Dirk, 70 for Wade. 75 games started for Dirk, 0 games started for Wade. Minutes played for Dirk, 31.5, Wade 25.9. Let's see here. Field goal percentage, Dirk 44.8%, Wade 43.6%. 3-point percentage, 36.8% for Dirk, 33.2% for Wade. Overall field goal efficiency, 50.4% for Dirk, 47.9% for Wade. Free throws, 89 for Dirk, 70 for Wade. Rebounds, 6.5 for Dirk, 3.9 for Wade. Wade, of course, has him on assists, being a guard, 4.1 to 1.8. But points per game, Dirk 18.3, Wade 14.7. Dirk unquestionably was absolutely better at age 37 than Dwayne Wade is now. But here's why this is significant, right? So the reason I bring this up is because some Mavs fan on here, on Twitter, I don't see his thing here, I just had the direct link. He basically pointed out these stats of Dirk age 37 versus Wade age 37. To Dwayne Wade, pretty much saying, humble yourself a little bit before you throw shade at Dirk because you're jealous of the organic, loving attention he's gotten league-wide, and you don't understand why you can't get it. Not just the fact that Dirk has had several more games in the league, several more years in the league. Dwayne Wade was the 03 class. Dirk was the 98 class. Now, because of the lockout-shortened season, he made his debut in February 1999, played 50 games that year because that was the season length. But I digress. The point remains the same. Dwayne Wade is salty, and he's not able to separate himself from the moment. So this Mavs fan, puts all these numbers out here to Wade and pretty much like, humble yourself. Humble yourself. Are those numbers not better based on minutes played? You're talking about that? Dirk only played like 6 more minutes a game than Wade did in age 37, and Dirk was still a starter. Wade didn't start a single game hasn't started a single game this year, I don't think, or yeah, something like that. I already closed out of the tab, so yeah, it's ridiculous what you see in those cases. So this Mavs fan puts this to Wade's attention, pretty much like, hey, humble yourself a little bit, just a little bit, before you want to go throw our guy under the bus for no reason. And then Wade is like, whoa, bro, whoa, what's your problem? Dirk's great. Why you got to try and build one guy up by tearing the other guy down? Dirk's great, just as I am. Even in addressing a fan, which, first of all, why are you bothering to respond? Second of all, can you really not compliment Dirk without also patting yourself on the back? It's so egotistical and just weak, man. Who cares? You made your comment. Of course there was going to be a little bit of backlash to it because nobody, even if we're not talking about Mavs fans or Heat fans, nobody was unaware of who you were talking about. And by the way, we want to talk about Dirk, and you want to say how, like, oh, he's not making an impact on the game. Yeah, I know. This year, Dirk has not been making a significant impact on the game. This is a great nostalgia trip and all that. You left Miami because you didn't get as much money as you wanted, even though your production had clearly dropped off. You were not the Supermax Wade of old, and so you went and took your ball to Chicago, your home team, and you were there for a year. They were sick of you. You moved on then to join back up with LeBron in Cleveland for one more chance at a finals run, and it didn't work out. Even with your best friend on the team, even with your best friend basically running the team, they were done with you. They were tired of you. They more or less cut you. They sold you pretty much back to Miami for a copy machine. They were so done with you. So yes, you got your nostalgia trip coming back to Miami, and yes, you've done something probably there. I don't know. You're coming off the bench and you're doing this whole self-aggrandizing pat on the back as your farewell tour. Here's what makes me sick, though, in this whole situation, right? If this is it for Dirk, and we know it's it for Wade, you got to wait 5 years until you can be inducted in the NBA Hall of Fame. 5 years. They're going to be the same draft class, man. I hate how much Dirk's got to be tied to Dwayne Wade. Like, we know, we already got the 06 and 11 finals. Then they're both doing their, Dirk in a more unofficial capacity, doing their final send-off tours. But now we also have to take a look. At a potential NBA or basketball Hall of Fame induction ceremony in which Dirk has to stand up there again next to Wade and go through all this crap. Dirk doesn't like Wade. At the very least, he's not amused by him. It's just ridiculous. Like, he's not a bitter person. He said he buried the hatchet with Wade a while back and he did the jersey swap with Wade because Wade wanted to do a jersey swap. Dirk said it himself. I've never done that before. I've always thought it was kind of silly. But Wade came to me and asked me for it. Why would Wade want to do that? Because Wade understands that narrative. He sees, hey, this will get me extra attention and all of that if I exchange jerseys with Dirk. And we all were looking at it, and if you're a Mavs fan, you probably looked at it kind of like, all right, cool, I guess, but still F Wade, I'm so done with that guy. I can't stand him. But Wade knew what he was doing. because that was a major story, like on SportsCenter and whatnot. That focusing, oh, let's share this clip everywhere and bring Wade's farewell tour back into the forefronts of our minds. He's upset because he's not getting the same respect. Is he a great player? Yes. Is he an all-time great player? Yeah, I would say so. Is he as egotistical as they come? Yeah, I would say even more so than Kevin Durant. Like, we think Kevin Durant's pretty egotistical and all that. I think Wade's worse. And maybe even Kobe, maybe that kind of category. But at least Kobe, even though he drained every last dollar he could out of the Lakers before retiring, at the very least, you know, guys came to him. He didn't ever leave. Now, Wade, yes, he brought in the two, LeBron and Bosh, but then he left and he started chasing either the dollar or one more chance at a championship, and it didn't work out. He got one ring in which the refs delivered it to him, and then Bron and Bosh came in to help him get two more. So when they want to talk about Dirk versus Wade head-to-head, that's cool, but I don't care about it, because when they're comparing their resumes, of course, they're talking about, like, head-to-head. All right, let's talk about season MVPs. Dirk 1, Wade 0. Yeah, I'm good with that. Finals MVPs, they both got one, not even just head-to-head. I think LeBron got the other two final MVPs for the Heat. I know he did against the Thunder, and I believe he did again against the Spurs. Now that I've been ranting for a moment, let me take a second to back up and actually check the comments here again. Man, this is the Mod Squad chat here. Whew. I hope New York gets the 5th pick. They have a 50% chance of it happening, and it would be hilarious. That would be amusing. They got the best odds, though. New York does. I hope the Bulls get Zion. I mean, if he's not going to come to Dallas, which probably not, but if he's not going to come to Dallas, yeah, Boston, sure, why not? As long as it's not Atlanta or New York, I'm cool with that. Wade will never be half the man Dirk is. Hope Dallas gets the #1 pick. Dwayne Wade, biggest crybaby ever. I'm so loving he will never get another title. Yup. Dirk should come back for one more year just for the sole purpose of not going into the Hall with Wade. Yeah, you know, I was listening to The Fan earlier today, and I can't remember which show it was, but they had an idea I actually kind of liked. If you follow baseball at all, Ichiro for the Mariners, you know, he's been with them forever. He's one of the greatest modern hitters in baseball history, and if he had come here immediately instead of starting in Japan, he probably would own a lot of records. But he came back for literally the opening day game this year and then retired and moved immediately into some kind of front office position with the team. Something like that for Dirk would be awesome next year. If he literally came in for the home opener next year to have one game even to play with Luka and Porzingis, and then just like that, year 22, because he played in year 22, and he then gets the satisfaction of not having to go into the Hall with Wade. I would approve of that greatly. Kent Ketchum's loving the rant. I dig it. I was at the home game versus the Heat, and I booed Wade literally every time he got the ball. Hell yeah, that's what you do. On point with the Wade impression. I don't know how much of a Wade impression it was, so much as a mocking, but yeah. Got you the numbers already. Wade's wife was also taking shots at our organization, not paying him a tribute video. Yeah, okay. I know the Heat later did something where they kind of recognized Dirk a little bit, but it wasn't anything to write home about. And why we owe Wade a video? Why? I mean, if you're thinking about this for the Heat, who are their greatest rivals in their history? Boston, Dallas, San Antonio? They faced the Spurs twice in the finals, but I don't know that there was ever any tension in the regular season matchups after that. They, of course, had tension with Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and briefly Ray Allen before Ray Allen joined the Heat. But, you know, there was tension there. And that was not the case with the Spurs. And, of course, there was tension with Dallas. That tension, I would argue, has only kind of faded away in recent years because Wade himself has kind of fallen off the map, and now the supervillain is now running around, you know, not as a shadow of himself, kind of. And yeah, Wade will say the same thing about Dirk, but you know what? Dirk's got a lot more respectability to how he's gone about it. He's a lot more humble, very self-deprecating and all of that. And he's got more skins on the wall that he earned himself. Alex Sports, what's up? Wade is such a baby, so funny it's not even funny anymore. Yeah. Jeremy Price, are the numbers? Oh yeah, I answered that earlier. Max chimes in. Dirk with only 6.4 turnover percent ratio. Wade with 13.7. Kerman, yeah. How was Sports Fury yesterday? It was awesome. It was awesome. 7.5 hour WrestleMania stream. That got pretty exhausting, but Sean and Josh are great. Had a lot of fun. We'll be doing a lot more stuff with them in the future, I imagine. Definitely look out for them, not just for me appearing on their channel like yesterday. Look for them appearing here on my channel as well. And yeah, we'll see. I'll keep you up to date. TSSCG, it's because Wade relied on athleticism. Dirk has the fundamentals and doesn't need it. Totally agree. Can't catch him. Dirk should have won 06 too, so rigged back then. So the crybaby had to get Bosch and LeBum to get another title. What a joke. Yes, sir. Pretty much. Pretty much. LeBum should have one ring. Crikey. And Ray Allen saved his career. Yeah. Ray Allen absolutely saved his career. I mean, LeBron's only won 3 out of 9 finals trips, and Ray Allen pulled his ass out of the fire from another choke. Albert Pays, never liked Wade, honestly. Seems like an ass, and clearly is. Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's trying for some reason, for whatever reason, is trying to reach back in time. And he's got the stupid haircut. Yeah, he does. My Cowboys family, what's up? I will be doing this week a Cowboys draft video and all of that with Big Game James. We'll be talking about the draft, and that'll be here as well. So Feeling Dangerous will start rolling out tomorrow. That'll be a multi-part episode, the first kind of variety show mix-up of that, where I'll talk different subjects, different sports even, and then later in this week you'll have that. So I'm working overtime to try and give you guys the best content that I can, because I want to give you guys as diverse a content as I can for the site, for the channel, whatever. And you guys ask me questions anyway, sometimes even stepping outside of just Mavericks. And so I like to be able to answer as much of that as I can and give you my thoughts and analysis. Wade is a legit prick. Yep. No complaints, no arguments. Wade's earned plenty on his own. Yeah, he's got accolades. I said he's an all-time great. But there is no denying that Wade does not get title number 2 or number 3 without LeBron and Bosch. If they don't have super friends, it doesn't happen. So, you know, he had 06 and kind of like Dirk for about 5 years. Nothing happened. Nothing ever got close to it. And then Dirk actually had a squad around him that got back on its own right, in its own merit. And then Wade had to bring in the best player in the world and another top, what we'd say of Bosch at the time, top 30 player in the league as well. So it is what it is. Super teams are unbeatable. Dirk broke that. Yeah, he did. He's about the only guy to break a super team single-handedly. Hey, we got Annie in the chat. What's good? LeBron traded his ass back to Miami. That he did. Dirk's left nut is more valuable than KD's 2 rings. Yeah, I would say that. I said that when KD went to Golden State, that he'll never get the respect for 3, even 4 titles if he hasn't been there that long. But even if he gets 3 or 4 titles, he won't get the same respect for those titles that Dirk got for his 1. And yeah, 06, yes, he did have Shaq. Shaq wasn't fully still Shaq. He was still good, but he wasn't dominant Shaq anymore. I would say he had Shaq more so the refs in 06. Let's see. Yeah. Dirk better talk after Wade. Dirk's not going to say anything to Wade or about the subject. At most, he'd be like, yeah, I guess that's a little unfortunate. That would be kind of his take. So it is what it is, man. But it's a good love from Finland. Oh, appreciate you, man. Aberful. Yeah, appreciate it. But yeah, it's a complicated thing. So we're down to the final 2 games of the season. Tuesday night against Phoenix, the last home game. Oh, that's going to be a hard one. That's going to be a hard one to do. I'm debating if I should do a game companion. Shaq was first team All-NBA in 06. Okay, maybe he had more left in the tank than I thought at that point. I figured by 06 he was firmly in the role of second banana. But, yeah. It's going to be a tough thing Tuesday night. I'm debating if I want to try and do a game companion. It's not like I think I'm actually going to tear up or anything like that, but I am a little bit worried that I am going to be, even if I'm doing a game companion, I'm a little bit worried I'm going to be like so engrossed in what's happening that I'm just going to kind of like trail off in the middle of what I'm saying and not really contribute a lot that makes it anything for you guys worth watching. I don't know. I'm going to see how I feel about that. But let me know if you want it. If you want it. Tuesday night, a watch party for the last Dirk home game. Or would you rather it be Wednesday night, presumably his last game? I can only give you one of the two. I can't go back-to-back in that case because I have a busy week ahead of me. Appreciate the podcast. What's your opinion on free agency for the Mavs? Well, for free agency, they definitely need a big man. There's talk that they need a point guard, but you don't want a ball-dominant point guard, which Kemba Walker is a ball-dominant point guard, so that's problematic. You'd have to take the ball out of Luka's hands. I like it better when we run Luka as a point forward for the... I realize Luka can't handle the ball every possession, but I like it better if he is still the primary guy in that case. So I think that's good. Vucevic would be a great ad. It's a 20-10 guy, but you're going to have to give him nearly max money, I think, to get him. I saw one talking about the rumor of Dragic and Vucevic coming to Dallas in the summer. I have a hard time seeing that work financially unless Vucevic was so talked into coming to Dallas to play with Luka and Porzingis and all of that he said, you know what? Instead of a max contract I could get and have never gotten before, I'm going to go ahead and take a much smaller contract, even if it's just for a couple years, to try and do this right now with Dallas. I don't see that happening. I think everyone wants to get their first and, who knows, maybe only big contract. Vucevic is going to be a near max. I like his offensive skill set and what I think he could bring in that capacity. He's an all-star this year for the Magic, but I also view it in the context of his foot speed isn't great, and he's not a tremendous athlete. I think Dallas would be better served adding a player like that. I think a much cheaper option that you might be able to get a look at would be a DeMarcus Cousins. I know there's obviously attitude issues there that people want to take a look at, and there are questions that will have to be answered there. But I think that maybe with this locker room setup, and especially if he's coming in knowing he's the third guy, he won't have the kind of influence and everything that he could have to be more destructive towards the team. And even if he is, trade him. Trade him. He's still DeMarcus Cousins. You'll still get something of good value for him in return. That's my gist thoughts on free agency, just in a kind of condensed segment there. Salah screwed up the tank. He did. A little bit. Would you rather us win Tuesday for Dirk's possible last home game or embrace the tank? Well, I mean, we're 7th best odds at this point because of that last win. We're not going to, with 2 games left, I don't think we're going to be able to get back to 5th. So a 5th's already out the window. Max, maybe you can clarify, what's the percentage difference chance for us if we're the 6th worst record versus the 7th? Because I would like to see Dirk go out on a win in the AAC. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen in the finale against the Spurs, even though the Spurs have already clinched their playoff spot and have nothing to gain. I don't think it's going to happen there. But I think it'd be nice to send them off from the AAC with a win. And Luka better play that game, but I think they're probably embracing the tank. I honestly am questioning if we're going to see Luka again this year. And if we do, it might only be the one game, which kind of sucks. But it is what it is. They're trying to keep their odds as favorable as possible. But Salah Mejri out there hitting shots and closing out the game late, unfortunately. Hype Emperor, what's good? Welcome to the chat. Hell yeah, whatever you do, do it. I'll be there. Oh, man, nice. He carried Shaq to that ring. In the finals, I would say so. They're not in that position without him. Wade didn't break out till the finals. I'll let your guys' back and forth conversation go. I'd rather have the home game. Need to pray for Dirk taking 1,000 shots. Dallas could easily waive and stretch Courtney Lee to make the money work. Okay, well, there you go. So that's how you get Dragic and Vucevic in that case. Not bad. How's Dragic defensively, though? Because I already said Vucevic isn't a great defender. Luka's not a great defender. KP is a good shot blocker. I don't know how good his horizontal movement is and all of that. So I don't know, man. It's one thing to have a team that can score 150 points in a game, but you kind of need to be able to play some defense and rebound. And I know Vucevic can rebound. KP is not a strong rebounder. His best year in the NBA, I think, is like 7.6 rebounds. That's not good for a 7'3" guy. Your height should not be nearly equal to your rebound average. That's just how I feel about it. But, I mean, at least not if you're a 4 or 5, a starting 4 and 5 and considered a star. And don't get me wrong, he's a star. I'm just saying as I try to make a witty comment. Don't need Vucevic, says Kent. I'd rather take Vooch than Boogie, says first name, last name. We need Brogdon or KMID, damn it. Yeah. Chris Middleton would be great, but I don't see him opting out. Brogdon, that's a very plausible option there. I could see Brogdon possibly happening, and that would be a very underrated addition. If he gets a good pick, if we get the good pick, good. If we don't, it is what it is. Gotcha, Marcos. Yeah, I agree. Cousins would protect Luka with everything he's got. That is true. If you're in DeMarcus Cousins' good graces and you're his teammate, anyone messes with Luka on the court, you're going to have DeMarcus Cousins out there being the enforcer, which is very nice. You got to have someone that's got your young franchise stars back. We aren't winning also next year. Not sure what you're referring to specifically in that case. It's like a broad statement. The guy that needs to be traded is Courtney Lee with that 12.5. So as Max pointed out, we can waive and stretch out the money we owe him over the next couple seasons, and that opens it up without having to make a deal to move him. It's a slow burn. Give it time. $18 million cleared in cap space. The problem with Cousins is he's bad in the pick and roll defensively, and he's kind of a bitch. Cousins is a little okay, yeah. Odds to keep the pick at tied for worst for 7th are 29 to 29.4%, depending on who won the tiebreaker. Odds for number 1 at 6.8 and 6.7. At 6, they have a 37.2% chance and a 9% at number 1. Very good information. Guys, show some love to Max Rangers King 669 there. Always with the quick and solid information. Good clarification. Helps me run this show. It's almost like having an off-site producer who can fact-check me and add clarification to things that I might not have off the top of my head. Brokoff, $6 million? No, Brokoff is not getting $6 million. The pick is going to Atlanta. Statistically, probably, but Mavericks have a reasonable shot, and once you're out of the playoff running anyway, you might as well try and go for the odds of keeping your pick. Why not? What do you have to lose? People act like we aren't getting a star in KP next year. People forget how good he was, says Isaiah Hunt. Yeah, and I don't think the legal stuff around him is... I think that's... already feels kind of like it's petering out a little bit. It's not completely dismissed or anything like that, but for what's been made public, it sounds like a very flimsy case against him anyway. I've already talked about that on the channel. And then it just becomes a question of, okay, what kind of form is he going to return to next year? Now, obviously, the Mavericks, having had Dirk the last 21 seasons, they are very acutely aware of what it takes for him in a 7-foot frame and with his style of play, what it takes for him to be physically ready. The conditioning, the strength and conditioning, the weight training program, the diet, they know all of those things. And when KP was introduced, when he was talking about how he was not going to play the rest of this season, they specifically said, and KP echoed it, the idea is to basically make over or transform his body physically. It's not just about getting the knee to 100%. It's about getting him physically squared away where they think that he will stay healthier, because he has been nicked up quite a bit throughout his short career. Obviously, the knee was the one major injury, but they want to address all of that, and that's what the point of this weight training program is. I think he's actually already added muscle, and I think it's noticeable when you see pictures of him warming up before a game. He's starting to get some bulk to those forearms and biceps and everything, which is sweet. That's what you want to see. You want to see him that it's like, hey, if you can't be on the court, at least I want to know you're working your ass off, and it looks like he is. So salute to KP. Awesome homework, Rangers King. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Price of the millions are all mine. If we get a third-round pick, get the third pick, excuse me, and J.A. Morant is available, do you take him or trade? Personally, I'm afraid that he's going to be a little bit like a Dennis Smith Jr. in some capacity. I don't know that that's the direction I would go because, like I said, if you're going to go guard, I think you need someone that can be off-ball. But I don't know, man. I have reservations. I would be excited for... I'd be excited, but it would be cautious excitement or optimism, if you will. I prefer KP to have 10 rebounds a game and 2+ blocks. To feel like he blocks, people shouldn't be able to get a rebound. Yeah, I agree. And those would be phenomenal numbers if we got that. 10 boards out of him and a couple blocks a game, hell yes. Especially knowing he can pour in 22, 23 points as well. Would you trade Tim Hardaway Jr.? If you can, sure, why not? But I think more than likely you're going to have him coming off the bench next year. I think he'll be better there. I think he's better than what we've seen from him since that trade this year. So we'll see what we can do. But that's my expectation is if they don't move him, he's coming off the bench next year, and I think he's better suited for that role. So how to waive and stretch works. Money divided by years. Yep, left plus 2. With Lee, you got $12.759 million. So 1 plus 2, $4.253 million per year for 3 years. Good to know. Give me Culver or Brandon Clark. There you go. Let's see, I got time for 3 more quick questions, then I got to wrap up this edition here. Appreciate you guys. I don't rate some of these college players. This time they're hyped to be maybe Zion. Okay. Bobby R, what's good? DDP, what are your wishes for this offseason? I want them to address the front court situation. We need a true center because KP, despite being 7'3", I already mentioned his rebounding issues. He is more of a power forward in terms of how he likes to play. So I would like to get a center who can play some defense and rebound for us. I think we need a rim protector. We need to find, even if it's not a guy that's an offensive stalwart or anything like that, we need a guy that can hold down the fort. Basically, our modern Tyson Chandler, effectively, is we need to find this year's Tyson Chandler, someone that can just kind of hold down the middle and bring some leadership and toughness to his game or to the team as a whole. If they can find that and they can find a starting point guard who can play off the ball, that's good. That's great. I don't know that Kimball Walker's it. Walker, he's great talent, can score a bunch of points, but he needs the ball to be most effective. And I think he would get abused in the Western Conference by some of these matchups he would draw. Yeah, our history in the lottery is not good. First name, last name contends. Maybe this is the year it all makes it up to us. Maybe. Trade Hardaway and Powell. Think someone could get value for them. If you got to find a team that would need both of those guys and be willing to take on a bunch of money for them, because Powell's going to make $10 million, and I forget what Hardaway's number is off the top of my head, but it's nothing insignificant at all. Duke couldn't even make it that far in the tournament with all that talent. Duke's problem is they didn't have three-point shooting this year, at least not consistent three-point shooting. So I think that's what ultimately was their undoing. Poor coaching, first and best thing, both playing lotto. All Dallas had to do was draft Mitchell Robinson, damn it. Well, there you go. But I think that's going to do it for my time on this edition, guys, of Mavs Fast Break. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Be on the lookout as early as tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. I'm going to do the podcast for Feeling Dangerous tomorrow, in which I talk about a number of topics. Part of it's grading WrestleMania. Part of it's going to be related to the Mavs game, previewing that Mavs game from that day. And the third topic will probably be determined later. But going to be more coming out. That'll roll out either Tuesday or Wednesday on the channel as well. Keep an eye out. A lot of good stuff coming. Until next time, guys, remember, every legend was once a prospect. Salute. Oh no, I'm still on screen. Now I'm not. Peace.